This is the Orioles Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's all about that orange power. Thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Orioles Postcast. My name is Luke Slaybaugh. I'm your post-game show host after every Orioles game, and today we're talking about a 9-5 win over the Cincinnati Reds. Thank you for joining me here on this lovely Saturday evening. Connor Newcomb, of course, is the main host. He hosts 5 days a week. 9-5 win. The bullpen certainly made it interesting, those final few innings, especially Matt Bowman in the top of the ninth. However, the Orioles got more than enough padding, enough insurance in the final couple innings to more than make up for any faltering by the bullpen late. But we got to talk about 5 more home runs for those Baltimore Orioles.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Something about those orange on orange jerseys, am I right? The Orioles' plate approach was extraordinary and something that they've been building up to since the start of this season. It's almost like they got the advanced scouting report on Hunter Greene. He of the .98 ERA before this start, and we're just sitting dead red. They booted the ace right-hander of the Cincinnati Reds after 3 whole innings. Of course, Hunter Greene did some of that to himself. He didn't have a whole lot of fastball command early on, and he was not getting squeezed, by the way. But bottom of the first, after the Orioles were already trailing 1-0 after rookie right-hander Brandon Young was tagged for 4 hits in that top of the first, they're already trailing. Cedric Mullins feasts on this high fastball, immediately ties the game with a leadoff home run, his 6th of the year. And then Gunnar Henderson, pitched later, hanging splitter, jacked over the fence to give the Orioles the lead. Hunter Greene, his final line, 3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 3 homers, 6 hits, 2 walks, which kill, and 4 strikeouts. 77 pitches forced by the Orioles over 3 full frames. That includes 29 in the first and 30 in the second. We saw some great performances and great approaches at the plate, 1 through 9. Didn't all come when Hunter Greene was on the mound. However, Ramón Urias in the second, getting a slider. The first hit that anyone in Major League Baseball had off of Hunter Greene's slider this season. Held back, kept his hands back, pounced on it. And then Gunnar doubled him home in that inning as well to tie up the game. Loved the approach at the plate. They were gifted a great opportunity to pounce by Hunter Greene. Bottom of the third, story of the game, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out right now. Player of the game, Ramón Laureano.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Got to be right. So I was sad because second inning Heston Kjerstad got hit by a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the elbow at the plate, ended up leaving the game in the top of the third. Funny bone ain't that funny when stuff like that happens. So Ramón Laureano was not slated to start this game with a power right-hander on the mound. But then, bottom of the third, Tyler O'Neill walks. Is that right? Yes. And then Laureano crushes one over the left field fence. Makes it a 5-3 ball game. And pretty much the final blow on Hunter Greene. Laureano would also go yard in the bottom of the 7th, this time off of right-hander Carson Spires, who was supposed to start tomorrow. More on that later, but he pretty much took on the load for the rest of the Reds bullpen tonight. Laureano hit a solo shot in the 7th, 432 feet to center field. Made it a 6-4 ball game. He is slugging roughly .650. Doesn't get on base a whole lot, and did not start off the season hitting the cover off the ball. However, this last week has been a welcome resurgence from a guy who has hit 24 home runs in a season before, back when he was with the Athletics in the Oakland Coliseum. First multi-home run game for someone off the bench since Trey Mancini 8 years ago. Next couple innings, the plate approach trailed off a little bit. Left-hander Taylor Rogers was in, former great closer for San Diego. But they kept striking later on. Jordan Westberg breaking an 0 for 30 with a solo shot. Back-to-back with Laureano in that seventh. Made it a 7-4 ball game. We saw some RBI singles late from O'Hearn and Tyler O'Neill with a good plate approach against a right-hander. One other thing we want to get into, the bullpen. This game could have gone many different ways, particularly in the sixth and seventh, but we saw some lights-out pitching in moments that really mattered.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Keegan Aiken put a few runners on in the top of the sixth, and eventually TJ Friedel, with runners on second and third, no outs, lays down a bunt single. Makes it a 5-4 ball game. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in, induces a 5-4-3 double play to end the inning. Let me make sure if I got those sequence of events right. That was a whole mess. Yeah. So Sir Anthony came in after that bunt single that scored a run, immediately induces that double play from Matt McClain. And then, of course, more trouble in the seventh. Gregory Soto was tasked after Ellie De La Cruz singled off of Sir Anthony. Austin Hayes strikes out, and Ellie steals second base during that at-bat. He would steal third with Gregory Soto on the mound. Unfruitful challenge call. Walks Gavin Lux. Lux would end up stealing, so you got runners on second and third with 2 outs. Walks Fraley. The base is juiced, and then just takes one pitch. Grooves it to Jamer Candelario. A 5-4 putout from Ramon Urias to Jackson Holliday. The chutzpah, the composure under pressure. That's exactly what we want. Minimal trouble for Yenyer Cano in the eighth, right-hander. And then Matt Bowman gave up a solo shot to Austin Hayes there in the ninth. Led on a couple more runners before the mountain. Felix Bautista went in, crushed it. Fourth comeback win of the season for the Baltimore Orioles. Coming up, we're going to talk about the major league debut of right-hander Brandon Young. Some good, some bad, batted around a little bit. That's coming up after this break. But first, it's time for ad copy, and we start with Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time, and with Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across the world. IT, AI, web development, marketing, you name it, they got it. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivered incredible results. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com, Upwork, UPWORK.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. One last shout out, and this goes to Supply House, site made for the skilled trades. Supplies you need, it's Supply House. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, you name it. Supply House is the best way to order products online. Website's easy to use, packed with helpful resources, more than 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, and you're going to find what you need exactly every single time. Someone like me has to do some electrical work from time to time. This is really nice. Supply House will help you with any sort of order you need with industry-leading service. You're always going to talk to a real person over the phone. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and man, it's time that you got on board. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical with just a few clicks. Big supplies at Supply House. Promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thank you, Supply House, for sponsoring this show. All right, we're going to wrap this one up relatively quickly in the next 5 minutes, but we're going to talk about the debut of right-hander Brandon Young. To do this, we were waiting for the corresponding roster move last night when we talked about the loss to the Reds. Thank you again for joining me here on the Locked On Podcast Network and YouTube Live. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, where you're listening from, what you did today to celebrate. Any Easter plans? 9-5 win over the Cincinnati Reds. Liked what I saw later on from Brandon Young. In order to make this roster move, they had to designate Scott Bluette for assignment. 29-year-old picked up off waivers from Minnesota just a week ago. did everything right. This was a situation where only 3 bullpen arms were able to be optioned, and general manager Mike Elias thought, not going to do it. Couldn't do it with Felix or Yennier Cano or Keegan Aiken. If this is it for Scott Bluette, he seems like he'd be a hot commodity for a competitor, a contender looking for a bullpen arm, maybe some long reliever type guy. Fare thee well, Scott. Thank you for your service. A+ Orioles appearances. 2 of them, 4 1/3 innings, no earned runs. There was an unearned run last night, 6 strikeouts. When it comes to Brandon Young, and we looked at the pitching matchup with Hunter Green, we thought this would be a low-scoring game and that it might take a pitcher's duel and a wire-to-wire pitching matchup in order for the Orioles to eke out a win. The baseball gods pulled the prank on us. The exact opposite happened. And he didn't have to be perfect, which I think he learned early on. I think the MO for someone making their major league debut on short notice and with a depleted rotation as it is you've got to go as long as you can and take one for the team. It's exactly what Carson Spires had to do for the Reds today. Didn't trust his fastball early on. Got hit pretty hard in that first inning, 4 hits. Thank God for Tyler O'Neill in that play at the plate, gunning down Austin Hayes. Otherwise, it could have gotten ugly real fast. But he was picking around the corners there in that second inning. 3 walks total for Brandon Young. And the scouting report on him was that he was a swingman type. Long reliever, maybe a 5. Of course, home run to Jake Fraley and an RBI double in that second inning to TJ Friedel. It looked shaky. If you chalk up those first 2 innings to nerves, however, pitching with his first lead, making his first pitches at the big league level, you get it. You understand it. You see this a lot in football. The first drive of a game. Sometimes you're just on your heels. We did see a lot of improvement out of Brandon Young. Got a double play later. Got a pickoff, his first pickoff before his first strikeout, which he had 3 of those, by the way. Really trusted his changeup against right-handers. He found his footing later on. And I think manager Brandon Hyde didn't want to overextend him. And once he gave up a walk there in that top of the 5th, it was time for Brian Baker to take over as the bullpen, for the most part, lived up to the billing. The Orioles improved to 4-3 on the homestand. And that is huge. Truncated into 8 games, but tomorrow they can win their 2nd consecutive series and make it 5 of 8 before going down to Washington, D.C., and 3 more against the Nationals. Tomorrow, don't know who they're going up against. The Reds, as we mentioned, have a depleted staff. It's probably going to be a bullpen game. Scott Barlow took one on the chin last night, pitching a little bit longer than he usually would. And today it was Carson Spires. Originally, it was supposed to be left-hander Nick Lodolo. However, before this series started, the Reds put him on the paternity list. His wife just gave birth, and so he is away from the team. Congratulations to Mr. Lodolo and Mrs. Lodolo. And it's also good for the Orioles that they lucked out of facing another really good left-hander. Andrew Abbott carved them up last night, and there's no way to get around that. On the bump for the Orioles, it is time to invoke any karmic powers that you have, any good juju, push it on to right-hander Charlie Morton. 41-year-old, ERA in the 8s. It's now or never, man. Charlie Morton versus the Reds bullpen. Baseball gods hopefully don't have a whole lot of trickery up their sleeves. That's on Masson 2. And the first pitch at 1:35. You can also get it on MLB Network if you are out of market. But the main story tonight is the Orange Crush. Something about those orange-on-orange uniforms being able to just launch 5 more home runs. Jordan Westburg breaking an over 30. Ramón Laureano showing a power surge. It bodes well for this team as we get into the warmer days of spring and summer. Perhaps that's all they need. Maybe they'll figure out left-handed pitching as well. And we're going to find that out. We're going to find that out tomorrow. But anyway, I want to say thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Luke Slaybaugh. I'm the post-game host for every single game. And I'm going to see you tomorrow as the Baltimore Orioles celebrate this win over the Cincinnati Reds. Final score, Orioles 9, Reds 5. Thanks for watching and listening, and have yourself a good night.